Hello, hello. Okay, I saw you say hi. I don't know if I went live before that because I wasn't ready. Let me have a look. Hi guys, and welcome to another Ask T Live Q&A. Please can you let me know how we're doing for sound, how we're doing for visual, and if you can hear me or not. I think I have not. There's some settings that I'm not really sure about right now. Don't know if I can edit it or not. Please bear with me guys, as I know I'm a little bit late today and I apologise. Having a bit of trouble with setting up today. So please bear with me a few moments. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Okay guys, welcome to another Ask T Live. I think I should be streaming in both long form, in like horizontal and vertical. Okay, cool. I just went live now. That's good. Yeah, please let me know if the sound is good, if the visual is good before I get started. We've got some good questions today. Can you see you and hear you perfectly? Fantastic. Okay, so if you can share this stream, that would be really helpful. If you can share the stream, and if you're watching this on the replay, we will put a timestamp so you know where we actually start officially. It's the last live of 2025, so I'm wearing, this is actually the only Christmas jumper that I've ever owned. I think I bought it like last year. I guess it's not that ugly. It's meant to be ugly Christmas jumper, right? But it's close enough. So coming to the end of the year, guys, it is Christmas next week and it is New Year the week after. I cannot believe it. Like, wow, 2025 has literally, it's flown by, but a lot has happened at the same time. So if you're watching this, what has been some highlights for you in 2025? This is a sprinting channel, so it can be sprint related, it can be fitness related, or you can just share anything from your year as a whole, because you know we are people, we have a lot of different aspects to us, not just athletes. So let me know what has been some of the highlights for you guys in 2025. You know, it's been a good year, but it's been a really challenging year as well. Like, I feel like my year's kind of been split into two. The first half was just like, you know, when you're on a lot of highs, and then the second half was like very dramatic. Obviously, experienced a serious injury, and then having to adjust my whole life. Like, it's not one of them things that just affects your sprinting; it affects your whole life. And as a personal trainer, running my own business, I also live in a flat, so the aspect of having to use the stairs when there was no lift, thinking about how you're going to do everything from going to the toilet if you can't get there quickly, to going up and down the stairs when there's no lift. So, you know, every little things that you don't really think about on a normal day-to-day basis, when you do have a severe injury, it does affect your whole life. So the second half of the year has been very challenging, to be honest, but I really want to thank God for his grace, because it has carried me through, honestly. And I'm still here, still showing up for you guys once a month on the live. So if you're dropping in, let us know you're here, say hi. Am I still live? I hope so. I'm just going to do my best to keep talking today, because a lot of times I think it's cut out and it hasn't cut out, so I'll just carry on. But yeah, this is our last live of 2025, so it'll be nice to see you guys. If you jump in, say hi, let us know where you're watching from. You know, whether you're an athlete, competitive athlete, just someone who does sprinting for fun, just interested in fitness, whether you're a masters athlete, whether you're a youth athlete, let us know in the comment section. We want to hear from you guys. Hello, you're welcome. So yes, we've been doing these every month this year. Whoop, whoop. Very proud of us. We've done well. We've done once a month. So this is our last one of 2025. So we're going to answer some of you guys' questions. Do I have any announcements today? I don't think so. Normally, all year I've been announcing for you guys the Pure Track Speed Camp. And for us now, it is less than 5 weeks. Wow, we're so excited for that because, guys, if I tell you how grey it is today, it is so grey in London today. Like, it's so grey. The fact that my camera, it looks bright, it's a lie because it's so dark. Before I went live, I was thinking, oh my days, it's not even going to show brightly. But for some reason, it just brightens up. But it's so grey and miserable and wet today, you know, so we need a bit of sunshine in our life. So we're going to Tenerife in less than 5 weeks and we are very, very excited about that. So if you missed this year's cohort, then next year is going to be for you. How far? How are you? How are you? Nice to see you. Let us know where you're watching from. I feel like I'm going to say Nigeria, but... All right, I'm going to get into the questions, guys. So... First question, well, to be fair, I've got a lot of questions, but it's actually from the same person. If you have questions while I'm live, then just leave them in the chat and we will answer them as we go along because we like interaction here. We like to see you guys comment. So feel free to comment in the comment section. Okay, are you competing at the British Indoor Championships in February 2026? So, no, yeah, I said Nigeria. Yeah, so I am not competing in... Sorry, guys. Just dropped my... I should have brought Carmex. It's much easier for me to open Carmex during the live than the beeswax. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, if you're like me, put a hands up emoji in the chat if you're like me. Yeah, I can't leave my house without Carmex or Vaseline or something. Like, if I feel like my lips are dry, I feel it's the same as like being naked. To me, it is. So that's why I've got it there, but I should have opened it before I started the live. Anyway, I am not competing. Am I competing at the British Championships in 2025? Unfortunately, I will not be because, as I was explaining at the beginning of the live, at the last weekend of July, I experienced a very serious incident or accident, right? Me too, yeah. That's to the Vaseline and Carmex question. I was competing at the England Champs outdoors. In the final, we crossed the line and the girl that was in the inside lane to me, she dipped, but she over dipped, lost her footing and ended up falling onto the ground. But she fell in front of me. Now, as you guys know, when you're finishing 100 meters, you're going fast, you're trying to slow down. I jumped over her in order to avoid stepping on her with spikes. That was literally my thought process. Was like, oh my days, if I step on her with spikes, that's going to be so horrible. Like, I need to just not step on her. So I jump. All of this is happening in a split second, by the way. I jump over her, but her arm is out like this and she's sliding. So I land on my right, but then quickly pivot onto my left. I land really funny and I twist my knee in the process. I felt it immediately. The pain was crazy. I just flew to the floor, grabbed my knee and did not want to move, right? So long story short, obviously when the paramedic finally got to me because they were absolutely terrible. I've got a vlog, I vlogged this day. So if you want to watch the vlog, it's on my channel. And I also got the clip, the short of when this accident actually happened, right? But the paramedic was not good on that day. I'll just be honest. Like, he was making jokes, was like didn't actually understand the seriousness of the injury. When I stood up, my knee kept on collapsing. He just tried to make me walk for ages, and then he was like, "Okay, you can go now, back to get your kit," which was like all the way inside the building, far away. And when he just left me, I just started crying because I was like, "How does this guy expect me to get to my clothes?" So thankfully, there was 2 ladies there to help me, and they helped me get my clothes. Well, they got me a wheelchair and etc. And I went to the physios at one site. They strapped up my knee, etc., etc. But I had a MRI soon after, within a week and a bit after that, which revealed that I had completely ruptured my ACL. So I'll explain what that is in a minute. So I'll explain what that is now. I completely torn my ACL. So your ACL is your anterior cruciate ligament. In your knee, you've got 4 major ligaments. So 2 that cross across, 1 anterior, 1 posterior, and you've got 2 at the side, 1 medial, 1 lateral. I think I said that right. Now, the one that stops your knee from going too far forward, that's your ACL, have completely torn it. So I do not have one anymore. And then your meniscus, which is the cartilage in between your 2 bones, is torn. So, and then I'd also sprained all the other ligaments. So basically, my knee was mashed up. Okay, so that's why I was in so much pain. So of course, over the time, as the sprains healed, I was in less pain. But I have two major injuries. I don't have an ACL. I don't have one ligament's missing. So that means that ability to stop your knee going too far forward, I don't have it. So that affects your stability. And then, of course, my meniscus is torn. So in terms of the cartilage in between the bone is torn. So I've got, now we're 4, nearly 5 months in to the journey. I have a lot more range. I can straighten my leg a lot more. I can bend a lot more. I can walk almost okay normally, right? Obviously, I have a bit of a limp. But in terms of any running, jumping, proper jumping impact, that's not going to be possible for me because I need to have surgery, which will repair the meniscus and also do an ACL reconstruction. Now, the meniscus, like I said, is the cartilage. So because it's a small tear, but it's still excruciating if I bend my leg too much or if I straighten it too, quickly, it really, really hurts. But if I'm just doing walking normally and slow movements, it's fine. But any too much pressure on it, it starts hurting, right? So I've had to work on getting inflammation down, all of that good stuff, and obviously been strengthening up the muscles around my leg all this time. But I still don't have a ligament as well, so they have to do that. Ligament does not just grow back, and they cannot just reattach it. They have to do a reconstruction. Now, how they do reconstruction is they take a graft from either your hamstring tendon, your quad, or your patella tendon, right? They take a graft from there, then they will twist it together, basically drill 2 screws into your bones, reattach, basically make a fake one for you, like a new one for you out of your tendons graft. So you can do it from your own body tissue, which is obviously your own body tissue, so your body's gonna recognize it the best and it usually responds the best. Or they can do an allograft where they use donor tissue. So, throughout the months, I've been seeing surgeons, had to change surgeons because the surgeon who I was seeing before only wanted to do the hamstring graft. And as a sprinter, you don't want to touch your hamstrings, you don't want to touch your muscles that you use to sprint, right? And even though a lot of footballers use the hamstring graft when it comes to the ACL, because the ACL injury is not a common sprinter's injury, it isn't, because we run in a straight line most of the time, or around the bend, but we run in straight, right? But it's usually side to side movements, twisting movements from high impact or something like that. But in terms of from a higher distance when you land, and that's what happened to me because I jumped over the girl and I landed awkwardly. So I tore my knee. I was kind of twisted at the same time. My knee was in. So anyway, I've been recommended a new surgeon. I've got a new surgeon now. And I'm really grateful I've got a new surgeon. He feels nicer. He feels more like he pays attention to me as an individual, as an athlete, and also as a personal trainer. But obviously as a sprinter, the next best option from your own tissue is going to be a patella tendon graft, so you can leave your muscles intact. But the surgeon I saw, obviously him taking into account the fact that I'm a personal trainer as well, I can be on my knees a lot, I can be demonstrating a lot, he recommends a allograft for me, which was actually my first choice, but because it's more expensive, it's not something that you can just get like that. They have to they have to get approval for it. They have to get funding for it to go ahead because it's more expensive. So I'm grateful for the NHS because otherwise we'll be paying a whole lot of money for these things. But that looks like what's going to happen. And I do have a date. I did have an earlier date, but because, like I said, we've got the speed camp. Once you have the surgery, you're not able to fly for a certain amount of weeks and all that good stuff. So my surgery will, by God's grace, be in February. And so to answer the question of whether I will be doing British Champs in February, I will not be. I will be getting myself ready for surgery. That's what I will be doing in February. And then 2026 will be a year of rehab and recovery, getting back to form by the grace of God. So yeah, that is what next season looks like. So I know people are going to keep asking me questions whether I'm competing, but that was just to explain the seriousness of the injury, because I think people underestimate how severe an ACL injury is. They just think oh yeah, okay, you're back now, but it's no, there's a long way to go. It's been a long time already. Obviously it's much slower than I would have wanted to. It's been really hard because of that whole waiting process. Obviously I've been seeing surgeons from the beginning, so I've been seeing people from the beginning. But obviously every time I go, I didn't know you had to tick certain markers. You have to be able to bend your knee and straighten it completely before you're even ready for them to say, yeah, you're ready for surgery. Because you have to let the swelling go down. Your knee has to not be aggravated, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously once you get to that place, they can say, yep, you're ready for surgery. But because I had a surgeon who only wanted to do hamstring, and that's not what I wanted, I have to get another surgeon, did get a date really quickly, to be honest with you. However, because I have other commitments, obviously people are paid to come to the speed camp. Me, myself, I want to go. I want to get out of this grey place for a little bit as well. And obviously if my whole year is going to be rehab and recovery, then let me enjoy my birthday as well. My birthday's in February as well. So let's get the beginning of the year out of the way. I guess even the end of this year, and we'll take it from there. So no, I will not be doing the British champs in February. Right, let me know if you guys are still there. Was that new to you? Did you know about the ACL injury before, how it works, reconstruction, all that kind of stuff? Did you underestimate the severity of it as well? Was that like the first time you've heard about it in that way? I could explain it in more detail as well, but I tried to give a little summary, so hopefully that kind of like gives a little bit of a summary as well. I really can't see who's online and stuff, so I will just keep going. Let's have a look. Next question, guys. So next question. Best training partners you've trained with. So best training partners that I've trained with. Okay. Obviously when we say training partners, I'll just say in a group because in people that have been in my group over the years, a lot of people, to be honest with you. I'll go from when I came back to the actually a lot of people. It depends. I don't know how much you know like British athletics, but like I'll try and go by in order of my memory, and who's still like competing now. But obviously Bianca Williams has been in my group. Amma Pippi's been in my group. Obviously Lavia and Lena, they kind of trained with the same coaches but a bit later, but they were obviously like around. Christine Ohurugu, when she was training with Christine Bowmaker at the time. Obviously people like CJ, Daryl, Reese, Imani, we were all in Speedworks at the same time as well. Why's her name going out of my head? Ezine from Norway. That was Norway's number one. Quite a lot of people actually, but I'll just stop there because I don't like listing names. Obviously, I'll be honest. But yeah, so a lot of people who have been British athletes, competed for the country, medalled, that sort of thing. I know I probably missed loads of people, but right now that's all I can think of in my mind. So hope that answers your question. Yeah, I can't think right now. I did look at these before, but it's been so busy, guys. Honestly, it's been so busy. Okay, next question. If you have questions, guys, then feel free to leave them in the chat as well. This is our last live of the year. We're doing it 1 week early because obviously next week is Christmas and then it's New Year. So we will not be going live until potentially the end of January. So difference between being coached and coaching yourself, advantages and disadvantages. This is a really good question. Excuse me. It was a really good question. Now, disclaimer, coaching myself is not something I would have ever wanted to do. I'll be so honest with you. Like, first of all, if you even just go back to 2017, the thought of being self-coached is something that frightened me, yeah? Sorry, give me 2 seconds. I want to put this on my lips. It's because I'm holding the mic today. I normally put it on my clothes, but it's just making my top sag down too much. So I'm holding it in my hand instead. But yeah, being self-coached. Yeah, being self-coached, the thought of being self-coached used to frighten me. I'll be so real. Like, I remember in around 2017 or so, hi, and welcome to the live. We're doing a live Q&A, all things sprinting, fitness, mindset, whatever you want in that area. So feel free to leave your questions if you have any. Right now, I'm answering the question, the difference between being self-coached and coached, the advantages and the disadvantages. Yeah, it's not something I would have wanted. I remember in 2017, my mentor was like to me, that's what he believes. If you don't know, I'm a Christian, so that's what he believes like God wants me to do, is like that's where he's taken me, where God wants to be my coach. And I remember thinking, like, the thought of that was just absolutely scary. I was like, no way. Like, how would I even know what to by 2017, I have a lot of experience and I'm a coach, like qualified coach, but the thought of training myself was just like scary, honestly. However, it's something that I was forced into by circumstances, and so I had to step up to the plate. But I think somebody, it's a weird question. Let me see how weird it is. Depends if it's weird. Well, as long as it's answerable weird, it's fine. Yeah, I had to step up to the plate because I ended up being in a place where I had no coach. At the end of 2018, so the group kind of got dispersed in the way that it was. And I was saying to someone the other day, actually most times, apart from when I left the sport and I left my coach at that time, it's usually my coaches that leave me or they change in circumstances or something. That means that I don't. Am I still? Yeah. That means that I ended up being left without a coach in 2018. So I was kind of forced into the position of self-coach, and I've learned from there. But I think also, I have a certain personality type and a certain skill set. So even if I think about my years, I think I shared this before on my channel at some point. If I think about my educational years, so I was talking to one of my clients the other day and she was like, oh, I never would have thought that you was academic. But I was like, I actually am an academic person, but it's been the journey, like I said, of faith for me and going on the direction that I believe God has called me to as to why I've done certain things, not because of anything else. But if I had just gone my own route, I would have carried on the route of academia. But basically, even throughout my school years, like at A level, so for most, if you're not in part of the UK system, so after you finish, we do GCSEs up until 16, and then we go to either college or sixth form and you do A levels. That's before you go to university. And most people do 4 and then they drop 1 and they do 3. Now I did 5 at the first, like AS, which is the first year, and I dropped 1 and I ended up doing 4 for A2 for the second year. And first of all, just to say, the one that I dropped was actually PE and I carried on with maths, further maths, psychology and Spanish. And in our first year for further maths, there was only 3 of us that did it. And then for further maths in the second year, it was only me. Now, they couldn't put it on the timetable because it was just me, but they were like, oh, it's you, so therefore we will allow you to do it. And every 2 weeks you can meet a teacher to kind of catch up and answer any questions that you have regarding what you've been teaching yourself. So basically I had to teach myself further maths, and then also psychology. Our teacher went on maternity, we didn't have one, and I also had to teach myself, right? So I'm doing 2 A-level subjects where I had to teach myself. And on top of that, at this time, I'm also like competing for Great Britain. So you have to manage your schedule as all of these things. So I have a personality type where I have the skill set to learn how to do something. So even with psychology, like I got 100%. I think if there was 6 papers, I maybe got 100% on 5 of them. And I maybe got 95% on the other one that I didn't get 100% on. But I looked and I said, okay, what are they asking us for? Like, I looked at the system, like the structure, and figured that out and then sorted it out. And it's the same way that my mind worked when it comes to coaching. So I think you have to have I'm saying that to say, you have to have a certain type of, I believe, first of all, you need to have the experience, because if you're new to the sport, you have no idea what you're looking for. I don't think it's the best. Obviously it depends on your circumstances. You might have to be self-coached, but I think it's not the best option for you. It's just not, right? You need to know what you're looking for. You need to have experience, like working with coaches or seeing from the other side of like looking at athletes and knowing what you're looking for. Otherwise you just won't know what you're doing, like honestly, even in terms of structuring a program, all like that good stuff. So when you're saying what's the pros and cons, the pros, the advantages are stuff like being able to structure it or set your program exactly according to what you need or what you know about yourself personally, right? Not necessarily around a whole group or that kind of thing. It can be very specific to just you, as if you had just you and one coach. And it's very rare to just have one athlete and one coach. A lot of times there's a group in most coaching settings. So the advantages can be, you can structure it like that. You can schedule your training around your personal schedule, around your personal life, because it's just you've got to cater for, right? But obviously the disadvantages can be stuff like you don't have someone to give you that feedback in the moment. You can't see yourself. So you have to try to figure out other ways to be able to get feedback, to be able to change what you need to change. So stuff like using video footage, maybe asking someone else to look, or sometimes jumping, like competitive runs, jumping in with other people from time to time, or competing more often. So there's those factors that make a difference. Obviously when you have a group, one of the major benefits is having that camaraderie, having that other people there to push you, even if it's not another athlete, even if it's just a coach, having a team it makes a massive difference. Like, that's why it's one of the things I didn't want to do. It's something I struggled with for a long time. Not in terms of capability. I can do it, but I didn't want to do it. I don't want to be by myself. I don't want to train by myself. I didn't want to not have a team. That's not what I wanted, right? Obviously, I've been able to build a team, but I'm building a team for other people as opposed to for myself. And I love being a coach. I love gathering people and bringing them together. It's part of the grace on my life, like, to be able to gather people together. But the disadvantages of self-coaching, like I said, is mainly the fact that you have to think about everything. Whereas when you're the athlete, coach can say, do this, and you could do this. You don't have to think about that. You don't have to be thinking about the program side of thing. What am I going to do to change? Like, you can think about yourself, or like, okay, coach said this, what am I going to implement next time? Yes. But when you're coach, you have to think, you are responsible for the program, right? The athlete has to do the program, but the coach is responsible for the program. Obviously, as you get more advanced in the sport, more experience, you talk back and forth with your coach about certain things, but it's the coach's responsibility to make the changes, and you just need to do it. You just need to do it, right? You don't have that responsibility of piecing those pieces together. So I would definitely not recommend it, especially, I don't think it should be anyone's first choice, if I'm being very honest with you. Obviously, I think circumstances might force you into being self-coached, but I don't think it should be your first option ever, really. I think, especially if you're new to the sport, try and find a coach. You know, your first coach may not be your coach forever, but sometimes they can be. Like, Jessica Ennis' coach took her all the way to the Olympics, multiple medals. But obviously, again, I was talking to someone the other day about, in this country, I'll be real, athletes are not loyal. They don't stay with their coaches, and a lot of time they burn bridges with the coaches. So try and keep good relationships with your coaches, even if you're moving on, right? But keep relationships, because you never know if you want to return, that sort of thing. But I think finding a coach, especially when you first start, and even when you want to push on, finding a coach building a team in some capacity is very, very, I think is the right path for most people. I think exceptional circumstances, like, obviously I'm self-coached, but then again, like my life has been set up. God has set me in a place where I'm a coach, I have a business, and I'm helping other people to develop as well. So I think, you know, and obviously, like I said, I have a certain skill set to be able to, like, I think it speaks for itself, the fact that I've been able to get myself back. I say I very flippantly because, you know, I believe God empowers me to do stuff, but being able to get myself back to where I was at 21, at 35, without a coach. So I think it speaks for itself that, you know, it's possible, but I don't think it should be your first choice. And yes, you could say, oh, if you was with a coach, then maybe you would get so much further. But I think, again, it's a testament to say, I got myself here. My other coaches didn't get me here. Since I came back to the sport, they didn't get me here. So I think that also speaks, like, you yourself know, like, if you have a belief about something, maybe you have to find the coach who has that same belief. Is very difficult sometimes. But then also, what was I going to say? Finding a coach that has the same belief as you is part of the challenge. If you have the same belief, that's fair. Sometimes what I was going to say was, especially if you're on the side of age, like you're an older athlete, a master's athlete, say, finding a coach who might be willing to coach you, that can be a challenge too, because some coaches have ambition for a certain thing, so they only look at young athletes. So when you get older, maybe people don't want to coach you. So you have all these, like I said, circumstances might force you into being self-coached. But I don't think as a first option, that shouldn't be your first option per se, unless you believe it's a God-ordained call that you need to be self-coached, because, for example, he's setting you up to be a coach and have your own business like me, right? So that is my answer. Why many athletes too common injury? I'm not sure what you mean. Can you rewrite the last part? Are you asking me, are you saying injury, or are you saying something else? I'm not sure. And also, I think I have lost the stream. Okay, you're back, guys. You're back. That person asked a question. Okay, they've deleted it. But if you want to ask it again, just revise it so that I can know what you meant. Astro 2024 says, access to coaching is really small and expensive in the US for masters. Any advice? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Obviously, I'm not in America and I don't know, you know, how the setup goes. And again, like I said, when we become older, I'm a masters athlete myself as well, right? When you become a masters athlete, even just an older senior athlete, it's hard to find coaches who are going to be necessarily willing to just do it for free per se. And then like the setup you might have in college or when you're a youth athlete, or there's not going to be funding per se for you. So I think working with a coach, so in a way that I might do it, like, I'm on the side of being a coach, and obviously this is what I do full time. And if you pay, it means I can be there for you full time, right? But what you can do, or maybe you can speak with them where maybe you can see them once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month. They write the program and you see them, so you're still getting some sort of feedback, but it's not like obviously the more you see somebody physically, the program is more expensive. So maybe speaking to them, do they have an option where you can do once a week, twice a week, once a month, once a quarter? Then they can write the program. You can do feedback other ways. There's options like online, like I do online with people, where you get the program. We have an app and stuff where I can put all the exercises and videos in there, so you can see, you can leave your comments, your media, all that kind of stuff, and we can go back and forth in that way. So it's a bit less expensive than if you see in someone, if you're trying to train like more full-time-ish, like 3 or 4 times a week, that's a more hours of input that you're asking for, then maybe that might be an option. But yes, I'm not gonna lie that for masters athlete it is more expensive, because you're basically paying someone to coach you. It's like if you're paying for a personal trainer, it's not gonna be cheap, right? It's not gonna be cheap. So I guess it's like when someone wants to hire a personal trainer, the more input, the more of their time, energy and experience and knowledge that you want, the more you sort of pay for. But I think you can kind of get around that according to your budget, if you can kind of figure out ways where maybe you can see them less times, just get a bit of input, or like touch base with them at certain points. So it's not like every day, every week, but maybe bi-weekly, or maybe monthly, or maybe quarterly. Like maybe you can do it like that, so you have different bouts of times where you kind of get input. I don't know if that helped, Astro 2024. Let me know. It's not about it being for free. It just shouldn't be $150 for 1 hour of coaching. I wasn't necessarily saying 100 being free, but I'm just saying in terms of paying more. But I guess $150, what's that in pounds? But fair enough. I can't say what it should be, because I don't know what the experience of the coach is. I don't know like what their knowledge is, who they've coached before, what they've done in the past. So like I said, if let's say it's $150, then maybe you can just figure out ways that you can, if someone's charging $150 for an hour, then you're going to expect a lot of knowledge, experience, that they know what they're talking about. That would be the expectation, right? So I think it's a case of, if you don't want to pay that, then maybe, like I said, you said it's a small, there's not a lot of coaches, so maybe because of that fact as well, if there's a lot of coaches, then the prices might become less over time with more people available. But if it's very niche, being a coach in a master's field is very niche. Obviously a lot of people are discovering sprinting and recognizing its benefits, so it's something that's very valuable. So I think I wouldn't say it shouldn't be, because I think it's not fair to say that based on the coach's experience and expertise. But I think based on that, if it is that much or something like that, then it's kind of figuring out, okay, cool, and maybe I can't do like 4 hours a month, maybe I can do 1. And then can they then write you something, and you can, with that 150, can they write you stuff that you do by yourself for the rest of the month, then you see them again? Like, is there different options like that? I think that's how I would kind of look at it. I think it's unfair to say, I think being on the side of being an entrepreneur, I think it's unfair to say something shouldn't be a certain price. I can only say it shouldn't be that, if, depending on what they're giving you. But if they're giving you a lot, then I think it's unfair to say it shouldn't be, but that it can be a case of, because what are they giving you for that? If it's just the hour, but what do you get in the hour? Because it's like when someone goes, I've heard a story, I'm paraphrasing the story, but let's say you need something very specific. The more specific you need, it's not the time that you're paying for, because it's not just the hour, it's the years that led up to that hour for them to be able to tell you the exact thing that answers your question in that moment. So like, if you have a certain issue with your sink, you might just get a general plumber, but then you realize, oh, you need a plumber for that specific issue. So the more specific the issue, the more people can charge, because it's not about the hour or the 30 seconds that they take to fix it. It's the experience and time it took for them to get that knowledge. So I think, trying to just put a different take on it, I get it from the side of the normal average everyday person, but maybe, like I said, that coach is just not for you. That's fine too. But like you said, if it's a small amount of coaches doing master sprinting, I don't know if that's what everyone's charging, but maybe there might be someone else who charges less, or it could just be a case of, okay, cool, I can't do 4 hours a month, but could I do one, or could I do whatever, or can I sort out my budget so that I can figure out when I can do this for, like, do more sessions. I think it's always looking at it like that, because master sprinting, obviously there's not a lot of coaches, because it's only now more so that people are recognizing the benefit, and the benefit of coaching on top of it, because you can just do it yourself. But like I was speaking about in the question before, I think having the input and the fact that there's coaches who are willing to coach masters athletes, because they have the experience, they know, and obviously masters athletics is becoming more and more popular and competitive, and just the health and fitness benefits. So might not be the answer that maybe you was thinking, but I think it's just having another look, thinking about it from another way. I think it's never fair to say it shouldn't be a certain price based on what someone's paying. I don't know what that person is offering. I don't know their years of experience. I don't know, what they've achieved. So I think I couldn't say, it shouldn't be that price. I don't think it's fair to say that. But obviously there's different people there's different prices for different target market. So like if you want to buy a watch, you can buy a Rolex, or you can just buy a normal watch, but it depends what you want at the same time. So I think that's kind of how I look at it, being on the side of being on the, like I've been on both sides. So, having to pay where you pay, but obviously you expect a certain amount of things involved if you're paying a higher price. So I guess it's looking at it from that perspective as well. But thank you for your question. It might not be the answer that you was looking for, but let me know if you have anything else to say off the back of what I said there as well. Gymnastics background. Did you compete and go to any meets? Where I'm at, clubs in general are more sparse. It's better on the East Coast. Looking at maybe online options. Any good website for looking for online coaching? Well, you can come to me. I do online coaching. So I'm not gonna tell you someone else when you're buy my thing right now. I do online coaching. But yeah, I guess you're just gonna look at. Other than that, I guess I'm not gonna. If I do it myself, I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, there's someone else. I know what I do, and I know that I'm good at what I do. But yeah, I guess you can just type in sprint coaching and see if they have any sprint coaches that you find, see if they have online option, is pretty much, I guess, what you're going to do. But yeah, I do offer online coaching. So, if you put the coaching link in the chat, then Astra can see that as well. Yeah, but yeah, like you said, it is going to be sparse. I think depending on where you are, depending on location, or where there's more demand, if it comes up, then when the need arises, I guess the solution arrives as well. But it depends. But yeah, online options is an option as well, because you can get more. I guess they get more for your money, but you do, because you're not seeing somebody, like you have to implement by yourself a bit more than when someone's giving you that hands-on input. It's a lot of work and effort. I know for me, I never do anything like half-hearted. I do everything 100%. So yeah, that's why I said I can't say it's something shouldn't be a price. But yeah, gymnastics background. Did you compete and go to any meets? I did compete. If I could tell you what competitions, Mumsy, can you help me out? Because I couldn't remember I didn't know what competitions I did. I know I did competitions. I know I did like club competition. I know we also went to I don't know if it was like a regional thing. I have no idea what the competition was, but I definitely did compete. And I still have the memories of those. And I really did enjoy gymnastics, but obviously athletics became my sport of choice. And I think I was naturally, I was not bad at gymnastics. I was good at gymnastics, but I think more so the tumbling side of things, as opposed to looking pretty. So I was good at doing tumbles, doing the vault. The bars needed a bit of work. The beam was not my strong point. That's what I know. But yeah, I don't know what competitions it was. If my mum can help me out, then she might be able to say what it was. I can't remember. I wouldn't be able to remember at all. What was your preparation and training like before winning the English schools championships? Okay, English schools. Oh, now you lot are asking me to go back far, I won English schools when I was first year under 15s. That was all the way back in 2003 now, which is a long time ago. It's a long time ago, but that was like my first proper year in athletics. So I wouldn't be able to tell you this exact thing we was doing, but I could probably give you a general idea. So like I said, these times I was still doing gymnastics because I also did gymnastics. I did gymnastics up until 15, where I was still doing it as well. So I probably trained two to 3 times. I don't think I started Saturdays yet. I think maybe 2 times a week I probably trained, because I don't think I started Saturdays until, I remember, I kind of have a vague memory. It never used to be Saturdays either. It used to be Sundays. I don't think I started Sundays until I have like a vague memory in my I know it was teenage years. So I remember having a vague memory of me and my friend like starting to go on a Sunday and missing church. So I think I was still doing 2 days a week, and I think I did gymnastics maybe 3 days a week at that point. And I did not use blocks at the English schools. So this one was in Sheffield. I did not use blocks, so I did not have any block practice. But I know the type of training we used to do, because bearing in mind, English schools is like later in the summer, so I know that we competed a lot. I would have competed a lot, and that's one of the things that we did do. So a lot of competitions, a lot of competing, so a lot of league meetings, a lot of like the youth leagues, like development leagues. Obviously you would have gone through like Middlesex champs, South of England champs, like all that sort of thing. So that would be county, regional, all that kind of thing. I know we did a lot of things, like obviously through the winter we used to do like, the run to Ali Pali, which is Big Hill, very famous place in North London, if you guys know anything about London. But it has a massive hill, so we'd like run there, jog there, then go up the hills. Maybe not on a Tuesday and Thursday, maybe I'm reaching too many years forward. But on a Tuesday and Thursday would be track nights. I know we did a lot of things like 150s, 200, shorter runs like 80s and 50s, like those sort of things. Like, if I could tell you the session, I wouldn't be able to tell you the session at all. But I didn't do blocks. I didn't have any block practice. I know that from early on I started learning about the dry phase, but at the time my coach used to be like, 10 stride drive, so we used to focus on that and then come up. I know that still I used to run very soft. I ran soft for a long time. It took me a long time to get out of that, to start putting like power into the ground and being like more aggressive. And that's how when you start being a bit more intentional in how you move, that's how you can be a bit more consistent in your times. But our form, looking over the garden fence, like making sure we were straight. So we all had really nice running form, even if it was soft. Like we all had really nice running form. So a lot of focus on form. We used the stairs. We did plyometrics on like the Astro, turf and stuff like that. So specific sessions I can't remember, but I know that's the sort of thing that we did. But like I said, I know I competed a lot, and I think that's helpful. Like running a lot, especially younger, like getting used to competing, doing a lot of competitions, a lot of rounds in the competitions, that was helpful. So it wasn't like so new in that sense. But English schools, I was so nervous, man. It was so, obviously English schools was a really good experience, like amazing experience. I think if you get the chance as a young person to qualify for it at your county champs, and then to be able to, your county schools champs, and then to be able to compete for your county, it's your first like major competition. It's almost like, I always still to this day call it like a mini Olympics for school kids in England, right? So it's a really great experience, really fun. You get to stay away with your team as a young person, like you're sleeping away with all these youth, like hundreds of youth. Like it's a bit crazy what you see some of the older kids get up to, I can't lie. But yeah, the whole experience is a lot. So it was really fun, like really fun. But yeah, it's a really good experience. But I remember I came second in my heat. And my coach got someone to talk to me, but I don't know who it was to this day. I don't know who that person was. It was a lady. I don't know who it was. She was clearly a GB athlete, but I don't know who it was in my memory, my kid memory. I can't remember who it was, but I was crying my eyes out and I was so nervous. That's why. I think it was for the next day. I actually had a dream that I won and I saw the race, and the race happened exactly as I saw it as a youth. After the heat, the night of the heat, then I ran the heat, I slept. That night I had a dream. I saw the race, and the race that happened the next day happened exactly the way that I saw it in a dream. However, I was so nervous for that day, I think because I really wanted to win as well. And then my coach got someone to talk to me, and like I said, I don't know who that person was, but it really encouraged me because I was so nervous that I was crying. And I think that's the first time I experienced like really being really nervous for a competition. But the whole experience as a whole was really good. What we did to train for it, I don't know the details so much. Les, if you ever watch this live, can you just leave a comment and let us know what we did? Because I ain't got a clue, I can't remember. But I know the sorts of things that we did, and I think I only trained about 2 times a week at that point. Because I don't think I started training 3 times a week, training on a Sunday until I was like maybe 14, 15. Or maybe like 14, 15. And then I was still doing gymnastics until I was 15. So I definitely was competing, like training gymnastics as well at the time. So yeah. And I was doing secondary school as well, and I did every sport in school. So it was a lot. I did a lot of things. A lot of things. All right. Any more questions in the chat, guys? Are you guys still there? Let me know. Thank you, Naomi, for putting the link in the chat. All right. Got one more question here. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. Like I said at the beginning, let me know, how has your 2025 been? What has been one of the highlights for you in 2025? And looking forward into 2026, what are some of the goals that you have for yourself? Like, it can be on the track. You can do personal if you want, but we can keep it track focused, or like gym focused, or whatever, mindset focused, or what's something that you want to change, something you want to start doing, you know? Are you looking for a coach, maybe like Astro is? Or are you, looking to compete this year for the first time? Looking to even start training, on the track for the first time? What are some of your goals for 2026, guys? Let me know in the comments. Strategies for recovery and getting your quota of sleep. Strategies for recovery and getting your quota of sleep. This is a good question. If you guys know the answer to this, let me know in the comments, because sleep is something that when I sleep, I sleep fine. I sleep fine, but getting to sleep on time, like I was saying to one of my clients the other day, yes, when you work for yourself, you don't have a boss. But when you work for yourself, you work all the time. Like, you work all the time. It's you that has to do things. Like, I thank God I got my assistant Naomi to help me, right, with some of the things. I'm thinking, right, I don't even know how I managed before her. But there's still a million things I have to do, like, constantly. Because not only do you have to work in the business, let us know where you're watching from. Not only do you have to work, like, in the business, for example, like in my business with clients, but you've also got to work on the business. Otherwise, the business is not going to go anywhere. Like, you've got to work on it as well. Like, you've got to devise strategies, think about what you're going to do, like, all of these kind of things that need to be done. Like, you have to do it. The stuff that you can delegate, but stuff that only you can do as well. So getting to bed on time is a struggle. I'll be real. But when I sleep good. I sleep like a baby. I don't struggle with sleeping. But some tips for recovery. Okay, first of all, let's start with in session recovery, right? So I think even just beginning with, or should I say, if you're looking at it as a week or a block sort of thing. When you plan your sessions, making sure you have your sessions you have some sort of periodization in your program. Some sort of, not basically in layman's terms, not every session that you do can be high, hard, 100, because you will just burn out. It just can't be like that. So even within your week, you've got to factor in, okay, what are the different components that you need to touch on? As a sprinter, yeah, as an athlete, what are the different aspects of the training that you need to do? And I've got loads of videos on my channel where I've spoken about programming, all of these kind of things, what we need, different elements that we need. So throughout your week, somehow you need to, I say throughout your week, or maybe over a period of 2 weeks or a period of 10 days, whatever, you need to be able to fit these components in. Now, you've got to make sure that you're not, like I said, you're not just burning the same energy system or working the same muscle groups if it's gym, like back to back, because recovery is when adaptation can take place. Guys, my battery is so low on my camera, but we've got 10 minutes, so hopefully it will last. So these are just principles of training, right? You cannot just do the same thing every day. You cannot just do hard. You need to have some high, some medium, some low, so that your body can recover and adapt. So recovery is important. So in terms of tips, having some rest days in your week. Training 7 days a week is not ideal. Training every day is not ideal, because you need some time to recover. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to do nothing, but either you change energy system, you change muscle groups, it's not the same thing, or it's not as high intensity, it's a bit low on one day, it's active recovery. So there's different ways to recover where you can just do nothing, right? Sometimes you don't always feel restful that way sometimes, right? It might be active recovery, so it might be something lighter, like walking or swimming, or slow cycling on a bike, stationary bike, right? Something that's low intensity that just allows the blood to circulate through and help with recovery. It can be things like making sure that you get massages regularly to help keep the knots out of your muscles, to help them from not being, to help to stop them getting so tight, right? Because when you start getting really tight muscles, they become inactive, and also it puts you at risk of injury. So things like stretching, maybe having stretch days, maybe doing Pilates, or maybe doing things that's going to help you to just keep your body loose and mobile. But part of recovery is also, like I say before, implementing a proper warm-up and cool-down routine is really important as well to manage your body. So we're talking about managing your body as well. In terms of recovery, you can look at those sorts of things. Recovery in sessions, so that can be between reps, between sessions, right? That's the order and cycle of the week, of the month, of the block, however you schedule your training. Recovery outside of training. If you have training tomorrow, if you have training tomorrow, why am I doing a really long hike or doing something crazy the day before the session? Because you're not going to be able to get the best out of it. Or you just had a really hard session, why are you going to go and do something crazy after the session? Your body's not going to recover. So it's thinking about even your social things that you do socially, even the footwear that you wear outside of training, even, even stress-wise, because stress can affect your body the same way that an exercise can. So doing things that can relax your mind, winding down. So we're talking about sleep now. One thing I do know that does help you sleep well, obviously for me, like I like to read, pray. I like to, if I watch something to just make me relax, that's a lot of times is that you need to calm down. Like you need to allow your mind to relax before you go to sleep. Also though, a lot of habits that a lot of us have nowadays is like, there's a lot of screen time. So if you can have a gap between like screen time and going to sleep, that can also help you to sleep better if you struggle with sleep. I don't struggle with sleep. But things like what you eat, when you eat, right? Things like having a routine before you go to bed. It's the same thing like what I say about training. If you have a warm-up routine, it helps you prepare your mind and your body to start working in training. If you have a routine to get to bed, that can help you wind down. So it might be things like, for me, I have to have a hot shower before I go to bed. That is part of my routine. A hot shower. I just feel that's like, no matter what time it is, that's what I need to do before I go to bed. That's my like winding down. Hot shower, then I can go to sleep. Like I sleep like a baby, really. So I think having a routine, but also thinking about what are you watching before you go to sleep. If you're watching anything, maybe I like to put my phone on silent. My phone does not stay on loud. It goes on silent. Okay, I put the vibrator on in case it's an emergency and someone, then at least I can feel the thing. But for some people, it might be not having your phone in your room or not having your iPad in your room. So I think a routine helps. Thinking about what you want to do, what things help you to relax, right? But getting your quota of sleep, one of the main things, which is the part that I'm still struggling with and I'm always adjusting, because sometimes it goes good, but it depends how busy things get for me. But a schedule is really, really important. Like just managing everything in life, I think having a schedule, it gives you the freedom to do certain things. Like it's the same thing when people say like with your money, like having a budget doesn't mean, having a budget is not a dirty word. It's like you can have the most money in the world, but if you budget, right, this is going for saving, investing, this and that, then you can know this is fun money, then you have freedom with the fun money. But if you don't have any plan for your time, if you don't have plan for your money, you just end up controlling you as opposed to you controlling it, right? So it's the same thing with your time in a day. So yeah, I think having a schedule when you're going to do certain things helps. Things change quickly sometimes, so it's having to readjust and reshape things regularly. So if you recognize, oh, okay, I'm working too late, so this thing is taking me longer than I thought it was going to take me, right, when can I do it instead? Having to sit down and reschedule it so that I can get the amount of sleep that I need to get. Oh, when I do this before I go to bed, it makes me stay up too long, and therefore I don't get as much sleep as I need to. If you're someone who doesn't sleep through the night, then yeah, it's implementing different routines. Like I said, hot shower works for me. Maybe an Epsom salt bath, maybe a nice warm hot drink, something that makes you feel comfy. Maybe it's what you wear. Maybe the room's not warm enough. Maybe getting a heated blanket. Like there's all these little tiny things that you can start to implement. Take a hot water bottle with you. Maybe listening to music or certain type of music like that calms you down. There can be little things that you change to start to implement a routine that helps you to go to sleep. So I don't know if that helps you guys. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys do to get to sleep and to recover and sleep? Do you get enough sleep? I think in general I do, but I just struggle to get to bed on time, and it works out sometimes because then I can wake up later. However, I put pressure on myself because I think of the future and I think, oh, if I stay like this, I'm gonna struggle. So I need to just fix up, and it's a constant adjusting and readjusting and adjusting and readjusting, like constantly. The sleep one is the forever. I feel like that's been my nemesis of 2025, like constantly back and forth. Oh, I did a great period of going to bed on time for a little while, then I just get back into the routine of going to bed late. And I'm like, I need to get out of it. But yes guys, been talking for like 50 minutes non-stop. Any more questions, guys? This is our last live of 2025. So if I don't see you guys until the new year, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a beautiful and blessed 2026. I pray it'll be fruitful, prosperous, full of health, joy, and peace. I'll give you guys a few minutes to let me know if you have anything else that you want to ask, anything else that you want to say. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. If you joined me today, if you've joined me at any point in 2025 on the lives, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You guys are what helps to make this channel what it is. Yeah, I'm really thinking about how we can still get content out. Obviously right now the lives is really one of the main ways, because it's so hard to make the videos the way I was making them before, the long form videos, because I just don't have that time the way I did before. And obviously we have some people helping us with editing, but at the moment it's only really covering chopping up the lives. And but I'm going to try and do maybe some more shorts. Shorts don't take me so long to do, so maybe trying to get some shorts out more regularly for you guys. So yeah. All right, my peoples. How are you doing? All right. I guess you guys don't have any more questions for me today. Don't have any more comments to say. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a blessed... Sorry, guys. I also realized I've been looking at the chat the whole time. So when I've been looking over here, it's because the chat is here. So... like I said before, guys, have a beautiful and blessed Christmas. If you celebrate, if you don't celebrate, then have an amazing new year. And I will see you guys in the next live. By God's grace in 2026. See you guys.